Hello everyone, my name is Cameron and welcome back to your regularly scheduled nonsense, where today we are going to be talking a little bit about the Platinum Trophy Challenge that I'm currently working through through the year of 2025. So, as of about 24 minutes ago, I just finished Hot Wheels Unleashed, which is game number 8 on the challenge. And I kind of wanted to discuss where we're at in the challenge, what's next, and when to expect the next stream. So starting with, obviously where we're at, we're about a fourth of the way through. We have 27 total games on this list, and we are at 8 going into game number 9. Game number 9 is It Takes Two. Should be easy enough to do in maybe one stream, maybe two, depending on how Jesse and I are feeling when we play it the first time. Shouldn't be too hard to do. It's a fairly simple, straightforward platinum trophy. Not a whole lot of troublesome trophies as far as I can tell, so shouldn't be too hard to finish. But where am I after finishing Hot Wheels Unleashed and the other 7 games? And I kind of want to do this. So this is what we're going to do. Every 8 or so games, probably 8 to 9, depending on where I go. So maybe the next one will be at like 18 games instead, so it's a little bit more of a third of the way through, which was my original plan. I wanted to do this a third of the way through, 9 games in, but because we're at the end of a month, at the end of February, I would like to just kind of sit and talk about where my feelings are as we've gotten to this point, as we're 8 platinum trophies in. So actually, what I want to do really quick, while I think about it, I want to see exactly how many trophies in the challenge, because I've earned trophies outside of the challenge, obviously. I want to see exactly how many trophies we've earned in the challenge itself. So that way we can kind of gauge how much trophy hunting we've been doing. Now, obviously, like I said, I did one less trophy than what the maximum would have been for Ghostwire Tokyo for obvious reasons. That would have just been too much fucking pain and suffering for me. So, starting with the Plague Tale Innocence, we had 36 trophies. So, 36, then we had 35, which is, oh my god, that's a lot. That was a lot more for Biohazard Control than I thought there was. So, 66, 71. So 71. Cat Quest had 23, so that brings us to a total of 94. Deus Ex Mankind Divided, we did every single trophy in the game. I'm just going to count I could just count the platinum, but, so that's 104, 112, 117, 125, and then 176 just through to Deus Ex. So halfway through this challenge, we already had, or halfway through the first 8 games, so like an eighth of the way through, we already had 130 or 176. Endling was another 28, so 84, 204. Far Cry Primal was 51, so 255. Ghostwire Tokyo, we only got 57, and we got 9 of, so 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65. 65, so 2, so 50 would be 301 plus 15, 316, I think, give or take. And then obviously we just finished Hot Wheels Unleashed, which had 54, so like 365 trophies have already been earned through 8 games. Like, I just want to specify that we've only played 8 games as far as this challenge goes, and we've managed 300 something trophies. Now, obviously, when I get through all 27 games on this challenge, I will add up the total amount of trophies that we earned through just the challenge. Counting any DLC trophies we have, obviously. I don't want to just count the platinum, the trophies required for the platinum if I did the 100%, because then, it's earned in the challenge. I would rather it be focused on as well. So how am I feeling? So A Plague Tale was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed playing A Plague Tale Innocence. That was probably one of the best indie games I've ever played in a long time, and I had a very, very fun time playing through it and getting to the end of it. And I'm really excited to play A Plague Tale Requiem when I'm through this challenge and have a little bit of patience and time to go through it. Yeah, really compelling story. The collectibles weren't too hard. There were a lot of them, and obviously, after I got to a point, I was like, well, I don't really want to focus on the collectibles. I'd rather just focus on every other aspect of this. And then obviously we had the upgrade trophy, which I thought was potentially going to fuck us over. And then we were eventually able to figure out a way around that trophy and fixing it and getting it done and upgrading the last part we need to upgrade, which is thankful. I was very thankful I was able to do that rather than be stuck with potentially having to play through for one upgrade trophy. Then we went into Baja Edge of Control, which was probably the biggest mistake of this list so far. Possibly the biggest mistake of the whole list. We'll see once we get down to Need for Speed and Saints Row, and maybe Quest Hunter and Power Wash. I don't know. But yeah, this game just it drained me so much. I had so little fun doing it, and it's the reason it was basically completely done off stream, because it was just a terrible game. It was very repetitive. It was very unfortunate that I chose it, and there was better games that started with B that I probably could have chosen. But oh well, these things happen. Third was Cat Quest, which we beat in a single stream, and was probably my favorite game I've ever played in my life. As far as indie games go, I had a blast playing it. The game was really fun. It was really funny. The puns were great. And once we finished it, I was like, okay, this was definitely a good choice. I'm very happy I chose that instead of Cult of the Lamb, because originally that was what was in that spot, and I was made aware that a lot of the updates have made the platinum a lot harder to get, and we wouldn't be 8 games through after 2 months if I hadn't. And I'm basically right on pace. This is around where I wanted to be as we started March. Was around I or J, depending on how fast I was able to get through some of the earlier games. And obviously, A Plague Tale, Cat Quest, and Endling being very, very fast to get through helped a lot. Like, those games went really quickly. So that was a great help. Then obviously, after Cat Quest, we went on Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which was a fantastic game. I really enjoyed playing it, and I was really, really happy that I chose to do it, even though I already had a trophy in it from, 8 years prior or whatever, 7 years prior. It was a fantastic game. I'm very, very grateful for the studio that made it, and really wish that there'd be another one, because they are fun games, even if they're a little bit vapid and there's not a whole lot of substance to them sometimes. The game itself was really fun to play through, and the gameplay loop was really fun, except for Breach Mode. Breach Mode fucking sucked, which is why I didn't show it on stream at all. I did all of that between like the first and second streams. I did all the Breach Mode, and it's why there was like a gap of a week between the first 2 streams. But yeah, had a blast playing through this one. The harder difficulty was actually pretty easy to get through by the end of it, and that was a lot of fun still. Like, the game itself was just a lot of fun, and I was really, really looking forward to getting it done finally and having it off my board after basically starting it and then just not playing it ever again after like the first mission. So that was a lot of fun. Then we went on to Endling, which again was another beautiful, amazing indie game. That was the whole point of this. I want to do a lot of mix of games, and within the first 8 games, we had basically what amounts to 3 different indie games with A Plague Tale, Cat Quest, and Endling. And Endling was just such a fun game, and I really, really, really would love to play it again and just experience it again, like for the first time. I think that'd be such a great thing. If I feel like if there's any game I could go back in time and experience for the first time again, I'd probably choose Endling. It'd be top of that list. It'd be hard to beat that one, because man, was that fun. The game itself had a compelling story that was told without even having dialogue in it, which is not an easy feat to accomplish in any sort of game, but specifically in Endling, they did a really good job with it, and they told the story very well, and I loved it. And I highly recommend the game. Even if you watch the stream, I highly recommend playing that game, because it genuinely, it was genuinely a moving game with a great story and a great message. Next, on to Far Cry Primal. This one was, I don't really know how I feel about this one. I think it was a great game and it was enjoyable, but I should not have done the full in-game 100%. I should have just done the base game, like what was required for the trophy. But obviously, I was stubborn and decided to do that, and I feel like I prolonged my own suffering because the game started crashing on PS5, and I had to play on PS4, and then there was just a whole lot of issues. The disc not working my PS4 at all, which I still haven't figured out if it's my PS4 or if it was the disc itself. I hope it was the disc itself, but I really have no idea. But yeah, this one was probably a mistake. Other than this, there wasn't a whole lot I could have done for F. I would have thought about doing Farpoint, but I didn't have that yet at that point. But VR streams are really hard to do on PlayStation, so it probably would have sucked anyway for the most part. But I think if I could go back and do a different game for F, I probably would. I would probably do Farpoint, to be honest. It's a fun game from what I've seen, and I do have it downloaded. I'm really excited to play it. I just haven't yet because I haven't had the time to do VR because it takes a lot of time and effort to actually go into VR. But yeah, Far Cry Primal was actually still a great game to play. Like, the gameplay was still fun. I mean, it's a Far Cry game. I kind of missed the sheer overpoweredness of the guns that Far Cry normally has. I think Primal was a cool side story to play, and I think it was like an interesting take on what you could do with within the world of Far Cry. But all in all, the game itself I don't think was very good. It was very poorly optimized in my opinion. I had a lot of glitches throughout it, which it's a Ubisoft game. I expected glitches, but there was a lot more than I expected. But yeah, game itself was still pretty interesting. But yeah, probably in hindsight, I probably could have chosen a better game. Next for G, we had Ghostwire Tokyo, which was the one sleeper hit on the game that was like, on the list I really wanted to play, but was really unsure of how much I was going to enjoy it and if it was the right choice. And I will happily say I loved it. I still don't fully know if it was the right choice, though. I can't. No, it was definitely the right choice. It was definitely better than Grounded or Ghost Runner probably would have been. But I do wish I would have gotten the 100% on stream, but I just could not. That Spider Stud mode was just pissing me off and annoying me. I was like, I want to move on to the next game because I realized if I did Hot Wheels quick enough, I could get it done within the time frame of finishing it before March started, before the start of March, and I barely did. So that was fun. But yeah, Ghostwire was great. KK was a fantastic character. Akito was a fantastic character. I thought the story was really, really moving. It showed two very different sides to the same coin. It showed how you deal with loss, how you can deal with loss in so many different ways. It showed how KK dealt with it and the loss of his family because he drove them away and he drove himself too much into his work, put himself too hard into the work and focused too much on that. It showed how Akito completely blamed himself for what happened to his sister and their parents and all of that. And then it showed, obviously, with Hanya, whatever his name was, I can't remember. I don't think they ever actually revealed his name legitimately, but it revealed how grief can make you do very crazy things because you just really miss the person that you lost. You miss the person that you love. And I think the story was told really well, and I really do hope that if Tango does something under Krafton, that they can continue the story of both The Evil Within as well as Ghostwire Tokyo if they have any plans for it, because yeah, I think the game was fantastic. After just playing through Rise of the Ronin like all throughout last year basically, and getting to experience that game and that game's take on the Edo period of Japan, and then playing Ghostwire Tokyo, which had a more modern version of Japan, it was really cool to see like the differences between the two. It was really, really fun to play, and I'm really happy I chose Ghostwire Tokyo, even if it was a collectathon and it took like 11 streams to finish. And finally, on to game number 8, we had Hot Wheels Unleashed so far. Hot Wheels Unleashed was a lot of fun. I liked the story. It was decent enough, but the grind for the gears and the money was a bitch. And I probably could have finished it sooner, but I didn't go about the grind for the gears as well as I should have. Once I hit 10,000 gears, what I should have been doing is every time I got cars, I should have upgraded them fully to Legendary and then scrapped them for the 200 gears I would get, and then do that over and over and over again until I officially and finally got 25,000. For the selling one, I just ended up selling like every legendary car I had It was basically my plan was I sold every car I had, and that got me the 100,000 coins, and then I was just hitting blind boxes and scrapping cars, or eventually I was hitting blind boxes and then upgrading and then scrapping cars, and it just kept doing that until I got the trophy. And it took like another hour or so after I got the 100,000 coin one to get the gear one, which really just shows you that it's a lot easier to grind for coins in that than it is for gears. I ended up doing like the entirety of the Looney Tunes DLC missions for the story mode, and I was gonna do both of the other ones, but the races and time attacks that I was stuck on were just like, I'm like, I really don't want to do this. I'd rather just go do a quick race, win 525 coins, buy a fucking blind box, scrap whatever I get, and rinse and repeat. And that's basically what I ended up doing. And then after doing like a few more DLC races just to get a little bit more coins and blind boxes and things, I eventually went back to the quick races, got like 1,000 coins, bought 2 blind boxes, scrapped those cars, and it popped. And I was like, thank fucking God. I had probably games that I could have done that would have been better than this, but at the same time, I really did enjoy playing this game. I might check out the second one at some point. I don't know for sure, but the game itself was not horrible. Poorly optimized. Needed a fucking stat tracker in-game for things like gears collected, for things like coins collected, for things like distance driven, for things like distance drifted, for things like boost time, things like that. Things that genuinely related to trophies should have had an in-game tracker so you could check what your progress was. Because not doing that for a racing game especially very, very much infuriates me. Because I play so many racing games and every single one of them I play has a tracker like that. Except Baja. Baja didn't have a tracker for every little thing, but it had it for what was important. Like the distance driven, it had trackers for that, even if it was very rudimentary and terrible. But it's also a game that came out like fucking 20 years ago, so I kind of understand why it genuinely didn't have much in the way of stat tracking. As for what's next on the list, obviously we have It Takes Two, which I think, depending on what Jesse says, is we're either gonna stream Monday or Tuesday, because we have wrestling to catch up on. Obviously, we have to watch Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Elimination Chamber, and then we'll stream It Takes Two at some point. And then we have Jak and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy. I'm using like the newer version from PS5 specifically, like not really the remaster. I don't think it's really a remaster, but like just a fresher version of the game with a slightly different trophy list. And then we have Killzone Liberation. Then we have L.A. Noire. Then we have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered, which as much of whatever needs to be done online, again, I will do off camera. I don't want to do the online stuff on camera if I can avoid it. I'm going to try to do as much of Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered on stream as I can, but a lot of it's going to end up probably being like random bullshit that I just need to kind of do to get out of the way. The worst part is going to be playing this game without the soundtrack playing. I say worst part. I know how good Hot Pursuit's soundtrack was back in the day. I don't know if the remaster has the exact same soundtrack or not. So that's gonna, it might suck. Then we have Orcs Must Die 3, Power Wash Simulator, which is probably gonna be a little bit of a bitch. Which again, I'm not gonna stream all the DLC. I'm just gonna do the base game for that one. Then we have Quest Hunter, which I still have to pick up. I'm just hoping it goes on sale before I get to queue. Then we have Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Saints Row, which is probably going to be the biggest mistake on this list. Honestly, it could end up being Baja. I don't know. It could end up being beaten Baja. Who knows? Then we have The Escapist, then Unravel 2, V Rising, which again I still also have to buy. Wanted Dead, Xenon Racer, Yooka-Laylee, which I did just pick up today because it was on sale. Zombie Army Trilogy, and then finally 101 Ways to Die. So yeah, we're making steady progress. We're, like I said, about a quarter of the way through. I'm very excited for the rest of this challenge, and God, I hope that this doesn't bite me in the ass going through the rest of these games, because there's a lot. There is a lot. But so far, I've been really enjoying it, and I'm really excited to finish it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more streams. Stay golden. Peace.